Hello, Franklin families. I am Miss Farrar. I am the library media specialist, and I am kicking off our Franklin Friday read alouds for the school year 2021-2022. Our first Franklin Friday read aloud is in honor of Hispanic Heritage Month. And our story today is a nonfiction story about Sonya Sotomayor. We will learn about her rise to be the first Hispanic Supreme Court Justice and the trials she faced along the way. I hope you enjoy. Who is Sonya Sotomayor? In August 2009, Sonya Sotomayor became a Supreme Court Justice. It is a special job. Sotomayor is the 111th person to ever receive that honor. She is the third woman and the first Hispanic justice to serve on that court. A justice is another name for a judge. There are 9 justices on the Supreme Court. They work as a team to make rulings or decisions. Their rulings become law all across the United States. Words to know. Supreme Court, the highest court of law in the United States. Hispanic, coming from or having a family from a country where Spanish is the main language. Sotomayor had dreamed of being a judge since she was 10 years old. She got the idea from a popular television show called Perry Mason. Mason was a lawyer working in a courtroom. He was the star of the show. But Sotomayor noticed something else. Mason would argue his case, but the judge was clearly in charge. Sotomayor wanted to be the judge, but she never imagined that one day she would become a Supreme Court justice. Words to know. Lawyer, a person whose job is to help people with matters related to the law. In her own words, I realized that the judge was the most important player in the room. Growing up in the Bronx, Sotomayor was born in New York City on June 25, 1954. Her parents were from the island of Puerto Rico. Both of her parents came to the mainland United States in the 1940s. They met in New York City and got married. They settled in a section of the city known as the Bronx. Sotomayor was about 3 years old when her brother Juan was born. Around the same time, the family moved to a brand new housing project. It was called the Bronxdale Houses. It was the cleanest, brightest apartment Sotomayor had ever seen. Words to know. Housing project, a group of houses or apartments built with money from the government. One of Sotomayor's grandmothers lived in the area. Aunts, uncles, and cousins also lived nearby. On Saturday nights, the family all got together. They played games such as bingo, and there was always lots of food. In the summers, the family enjoyed all-day picnics at Orchard Beach. The Bronx is also home to Yankee Stadium. They liked going to baseball games there. Sotomayor became a lifelong Yankees fan. Being brave. Sotomayor enjoyed time with her family, but she got tired easily. She was also thirsty much of the time. When she was almost 8 years old, she learned why. Sotomayor had diabetes. Her body was not able to use sugar the way it should. Doctors told her parents that she needed to use insulin to treat her diabetes. Insulin is given in the form of a shot. Sotomayor would need shots every day for the rest of her life. Sometimes Sotomayor's parents argued about who would give her the shots. Sotomayor did not want them to argue about her, so she learned to give the shots to herself. About a year later, Sotomayor's father died. Her mother was left alone to raise the 2 children. She worked 6 days a week to support the family. Sotomayor's mother taught her children to work hard in school. Sotomayor wanted to be a good student, but she did not know how. So she got help. That's a fact. Sotomayor read books to fill the long, lonely days after her father died. She especially liked the Nancy Drew mystery series about a girl detective. She asked one of the smartest girls in her 5th grade class for some study tips. One tip was to underline important facts as she read. Knowing how to study helped. Sotomayor became one of the top students in her class. The neighborhood where Sotomayor lived was changing. Gangs were fighting each other. More crimes were happening. When Sotomayor was in high school, the family moved to a safer area in the Bronx. Sotomayor went to Cardinal Spellman High School. After school, her friends liked to hang out at her apartment. One of those friends was Kevin Noonan. He became Sotomayor's boyfriend. In 1972, Sotomayor graduated from high school. Her hard work earned her a scholarship to attend Princeton University. It is one of the top schools in the country. Words to know: scholarship, money given to a student by a school or group to help pay for the student's education. That's a fact. When Sotomayor was in high school, her mother went back to school to become a nurse. At night, Sotomayor and her mother and brother all studied together at the kitchen table. Studying hard. Many of the students at Princeton were from rich families. Very few of them were women. There were also few Hispanic students. Sotomayor felt like an alien from another planet. For a while, she never spoke in class. She was too shy to raise her hand. The first paper she wrote was not very good. The teacher marked many places that needed more work. Sotomayor did not give up. Instead, she got help from her teachers and learned to write better. In 1976, she graduated from Princeton with the highest honors. That's a fact. Sotomayor and other Puerto Rican students worked to bring more Hispanic students and teachers to Princeton. In her own words, "You have to get up and try again. That's sometimes really hard to do when you get embarrassed over failure." But Sotomayor was not finished with school yet. That fall, she began classes at Yale Law School. To become a judge, she needed to know all about the law. People often work many years as lawyers before they become judges. In August, before school started, she married Kevin Noonan. He had graduated from college too. He was thinking about going on to study either law or science. At Yale, Sotomayor spent a lot of time in the library studying old court cases. This helped her learn how lawyers work. She graduated from Yale Law School in 1979. Sotomayor's cool firsts. Sonya Sotomayor was the first to do a lot of things. Did you know these firsts? As a senior at Princeton University, she became the first Hispanic woman to win the M. Taylor Pyne Honor Prize. It is an award given to outstanding students who are also good leaders. She was the first person in her family to be born in the mainland United States. In 1992, she became the first Hispanic federal judge in the state of New York. In 1998, she became the first Hispanic woman to serve on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit. In 2009, she became the first Hispanic justice on the United States Supreme Court. On New Year's Eve in 2013, she flipped the switch to drop the crystal ball in Times Square in New York City. She was the first Supreme Court justice to take part in that New Year's Eve tradition. Words to know: federal, having to do with the United States government. Fighting crime. Sotomayor's first job as a lawyer was in New York City. She worked in the office of the district attorney. Police arrest people whom they believe have committed crimes. It was Sotomayor's job to prove in a court of law that those people were guilty. Her day started at 7 o'clock a.m. Many days she did not get home until 10 o'clock at night. Her husband was busy too. They did not have much time to spend together. Their lives were going in different directions. In 1983, they got divorced. Words to know. District attorney, a lawyer who decides whether to start cases against people accused of crimes in a particular area of the United States. Sotomayor worked for 5 years in the district attorney's office. Then she was ready for a change. In 1984, she joined a small law firm in New York City. Part of her job was to protect companies from people who tried to copy their ideas or products. Sotomayor still wanted to become a judge, but she could not just get that job on her own. She must be chosen or nominated. Sotomayor soon got her chance. Words to know. Nominate, to suggest someone for a job or office. In her own words, I believe that those of us who have opportunities in this life must give them back to those who have less. Reaching a dream. In November 1991, President George H.W. Bush nominated Sotomayor to be a federal judge. It was for a U.S. District Court in the state of New York. Before Sotomayor could become a judge, the U.S. Senate needed to confirm her. On August 11, 1992, the Senate voted. They agreed to make Sotomayor a federal judge. She was 38 years old and had achieved her dream of becoming a judge. She also made history. She was the first Hispanic person to become a federal judge in the state. Words to know. District court, a court that handles cases in a particular area of the United States. This is the first level of federal court. Confirm, to approve someone by voting for that person. Saving baseball. Sotomayor heard many cases in her court. One of her most famous cases was about a Major League Baseball strike. The baseball players and the team owners could not agree about how the players should be paid. The players went on strike. They would not play any games. Because of the strike, there was no World Series in 1994. Words to know. Strike, a kind of protest in which a group of people stop work until they are treated better. The case came to Sotomayor's court in March 1995. She listened to the players and the team owners. Sotomayor agreed with the players. Her ruling ended the 232-day strike. Some people said she saved baseball. In her own words, you can't grow up in the South Bronx without knowing about baseball. 6 cool facts about Sotomayor. Number 1, as a girl, Sotomayor liked to read comic books. 2 of her favorites were about Casper, a friendly ghost, and Richie Rich, a boy who comes from a wealthy family. 2. In 2012, Sotomayor traveled to Sesame Street to settle a disagreement between Baby Bear and Goldilocks. Their disagreement was about Baby Bear's broken chair. 3. As a student at Princeton, Sotomayor challenged herself to learn 5 new words each day. 4. On September 26, 2009, Sotomayor threw out the first pitch at Yankee Stadium for a game between the New York Yankees and the Boston Red Sox. 5. On June 4, 2010, the Bronxdale Houses housing project got a new name. It became the Justice Sonya Sotomayor Houses and Community Center. And 6. Sotomayor stays in shape by running on a treadmill in the gym in the Supreme Court building. A higher court. Sometimes people believe a court ruling is not fair or right. When that happens, they can appeal. That means they can ask a higher court to hear the case. The next higher court above the U.S. District Court is the U.S. Court of Appeals. In 1997, President Bill Clinton nominated Sotomayor as a judge for that higher court. Once again, she needed to be confirmed by the United States Senate. For a while, it looked like that would not happen. Some senators did not want Sotomayor to get the job. It took more than a year for the senators to decide. They finally voted to confirm her on October 2nd, 1998. Sotomayor worked as a judge for the U.S. Court of Appeals for 11 years. Then, in 2009, there was an opening on the Supreme Court. President Barack Obama thought about whom he would pick for that court. He had 4 people in mind. Sotomayor was one of them. On May 21st, Sotomayor met with the president at the White House. He liked the way she answered his questions. He believed she was a good person for the job. On May 26th, he nominated her to be a Supreme Court Justice. That's a fact. The news about Sotomayor's Supreme Court nomination was announced over the loudspeaker at Cardinal Spellman High School. Sotomayor still needed to be confirmed by the United States Senate. On July 13th, she met with a Senate committee or group. For 3 days, those senators asked Sotomayor a lot of hard questions. They wanted to be sure she was the right person for such an important job. On August 6th, the whole Senate voted. The vote was 68 to 31. Sotomayor would be a Supreme Court Justice. In her own words, "I am an ordinary person who has been blessed with extraordinary opportunities and experiences." 2 days later, Sotomayor was sworn in at the Supreme Court building. Her brother stood next to her. Her mother held the Bible where Sotomayor placed her left hand. Then she raised her right hand and took an oath. She promised to treat all people fairly and to follow the U.S. Constitution in her duties as a Supreme Court Justice. Supreme Court Justices serve for life. Sotomayor can serve as long as she wants. The Supreme Court hears about 75 to 80 cases each year. Sotomayor spends many hours studying to get ready for each case. It is a lot of work, but she is used to working hard. Inspiring others. Sotomayor's success has inspired many people. She grew up in a poor neighborhood. She has lived with a serious illness since she was young. As a Hispanic American, she sometimes felt like she did not belong. Sotomayor overcame all those challenges and reached her dream. She has shown that to be successful, you need to dream big and work hard. That is the end of our story. Hopefully you have enjoyed it, and I will see you later.